arrangement come together for you?
Yeah, well, we've been working, for a long time now and securing some good partners. So luckily enough, we got STP on board, and we hope to see a bit more of them actually in Europe. And they have a great heritage, obviously, in the US. And we're hoping that they'll use Murphy prototypes to create some more heritage here in Europe. And obviously, Le Mans is where else do you go to create some motorsport heritage in Europe? Only Le Mans. So we're delighted with that. We're really excited, and again, Hertz as well. And these are partners we've been working on for a while, and they're proper sponsorship deals, and we're really delighted.
That's fantastic. Good luck to you the rest of the way.
Thank you very much.
I'm sure it'll get better for you. I think we'll see you in the top 5 before the morning. How's that? How's that for a prediction?
I'll take it.
All right.
Thanks.
Hey, Shea Adam has an update for us on the Audis on the backside of Shea's report. Johnny Palmer will be taking over the helm here, and he will take you into the darkness. Shea, what's the latest with the number 1 car?
A very downtrodden Dr. Ulrich just walked over to the clump of journalists standing at the edge of the garage and said it is an electric generator problem, which, Sam, I do believe stems from the hybrid system. Am I correct in saying that?
Sam's not actually on anymore, Shea, and I'm afraid my technical knowledge doesn't go that far.
Well, in any case, they pulled the rear drivetrain out of the car, not the engine. That's what the crane was for. It was for the drivetrain to pull it out so that they could get to the electric generator. Still working on it. No signs of when they will be finished, but there are an awful lot of tools underneath that Audi. A lot of guys standing around with computers plugged into the cars, and a lot of people who just don't look very happy.
Well, I mean, it's very unusual indeed for Audis to have mechanical problems, but the issue, I mean, I mentioned this earlier on, they're in uncharted territory. They were there at the front as favourites, as fastest, and of course all of a sudden things start to happen that they maybe didn't expect to have happen, but it's that car has already dropped down to 8th place. It's behind all of the other P1 cars, including the Rebellion Lola of Nicolas Prost, which has had its own problem with extra pit stop from that car, and still no sign of that getting going again. So by the time it does get going, it's going to be back amongst the P2s, or very nearly, I suspect. That has, and it was leading so convincingly earlier on, wasn't it? But we now have Loic Duval in the lead of the race by around about 3 minutes, and in fact, when you think about it, it's a 3.5 minute lap. That's the gap between himself and the faster of the two Toyotas, Stefan Sarrazin, in 2nd place. Stefan himself has 1 minute and 18 seconds of an advantage over the other Toyota, which, remember, has lost time on 2 occasions. Once when it stopped out on the circuit, and then on a second occasion when it lost about 35 seconds getting back to the pits, having not run out of fuel but been on very low on fuel, and Alexander Wurz coughed it back to the pits, and managed to get it back to the pits, which of course is the important thing, but that is what's lost it, those 80 seconds, which is why Kazuya Nakajima is in number 7 at the moment, is now in that place. Now, as far as pit stops are concerned, and I say this as much as anything else just to get Johnny and Paul Tarsi up to speed with where we are. As far as pit stops are concerned, we're currently on the 106th lap for Loic Duval. So is Stefan Sarrazin, and in fact, Loic is just going through now onto his 107th lap. At the end of lap 108, I suspect that Loic is going to be bound for the pits. Now, when Sarrazin gets to the end of his 108th lap, which will be about 3 minutes later, so he'll be coming into the pits as well. So as the race has panned out, we've now got to the stage where Loic Duval will be coming in for his 10th pit stop at the end of lap 108, and Stefan Sarrazin will be coming in for his 9th pit stop at the end of his lap 108. So the extra pit stop has had its effect, but the speed of the Audi is still keeping it ahead, and well ahead, to the tune where it's almost a lap ahead of the two Toyotas. So that's the situation. Welcome, Johnny and Paul. Must say you're both looking resplendent in team gear there. Washed, ironed, pressed, smart and shaved. What you'll look like at 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon is nobody's business, but at the moment you look great, guys.
Well, you and I are on camera, you see, Paul, so we have to look good.
Yeah, well, that's what it is. We've both been to makeup. We've been through the thing. We've both got glitter in our hair. Well, I've got glitter.
You have.
How can we see you then? It's Nismo.tv, isn't it, on YouTube?
I'm glad you know that.
Oh, that's part of the job, boys, to know that. Nismo.tv on YouTube. You can check in on the. It's got a special name. This, I think it's called a Snoop Cam or something, but it's a camera in the. Say booth, in the broadcast unit.
Yes.
Outside. Yes, if it was the BBC, it would be called the radio truck. But anyway, it's providing great views and gives at least you a chance to see what we look like while watching racing cars go past.
I think it's only right that at this time in the evening we should just give people who are perhaps joining us from other things they've been doing during the day to say that there is a cloud hanging over the Circuit de la Sarthe this evening. Alan Simonson had a very major accident at Tertre Rouge very, very shortly after the race started, and within the first 15 minutes, and sadly succumbed to his injuries. And that has obviously been very difficult for everybody. The Aston Martin team, I've been up to see the Aston Martin team and talked to them. Alan Simonson's family, or members of the family, are here at the circuit, and they were adamant that the Aston Martin guys should continue to race, and that Aston Martin themselves and everybody from David Richards down felt that that was the right thing to do in Alan's honour, and that has been very much the view that they have taken and the family have taken, and that's exactly what they're doing. We do have a message, in fact, for all the fans from David Richards and from Aston Martin Racing to thank everybody for the very, very kind messages that they have put out already, and that they want everybody to know that Aston Martin Racing continue in this race to honour Alan Simonson and everything that he's done. So our thoughts very much with Aston Martin Racing and with the family, and we now have a motor race which very much will be in Alan's honour.
Let's have a look at the weather on Radio Le Mans with Triumph Motorcycles as we head into the hour between 10 and 11 then local time. 16 hours and 50 minutes still to run. And the weather on Radio Le Mans with Triumph Motorcycles, Britain's #1 bike mark, suggests rain in the not too distant future. There is a 70% chance of rain, a 75% chance of 75% humidity as well. And this, there is a chance of also a little bit of wind, 12 miles per hour or so predicted through the evening and into tomorrow as well. But it's going to be showers throughout the night and then steadily improve tomorrow. A high tomorrow of 19 degrees Celsius. But it'll be very, very chilly tonight, potentially 12 degrees, maybe colder than that as well. We'll keep you updated, of course, on the hour with the weather. Triumph Motorcycles, sports to retro, adventure to cruiser. We have a bike for every rider.
And so that's going to put the cat amongst the pigeons, isn't it, Johnny? With,
I reckon so.
With a bit of rain.
Yes.
That it could certainly change this event very, very considerably all the way through the field, and I think that's one of the things that we need to keep an eye open for. That with the Audis now, it would be very unfair to say they were in disarray, because they're a very, very long way away from that. But with the #1 car now tumbling down the order, currently in 11th place, and with 3 P2 cars in front of it, that's an opening in itself, isn't it?
Speaking of Audi, we can get an update from that team from Shay Adam. Evening, Shay.
Good evening, Johnny, and welcome, Paul. Well, it's still up on the jacks, the number one is. There was excitement about 10 minutes ago when the entire number one crew gave a little bit of joy because the computer they had plugged into the car gave them a readout that said that they were going in the right direction. But alas, that was 10 minutes ago and the car is still in the garage, up on the jack stands. I really hate to say this, but it's looking more and more like the chances of a three-peat win for this number one team have gone out the window. The crew is still with a bazillion tools around the back of the car, just trying different things. As Straka said the other day, we're pushing different buttons to see what works. I think Audi's a little bit further along than that, but not much.
One of the things that always comes out in these kind of situations is this something which is a one-off? Is it a unique thing which is just going to affect that number one car? Or is there something fundamentally wrong which can affect the other cars as well? It would seem that it's probably the former, but you do begin to think and to wonder in these kind of situations whether this is going to start attacking the
front windshield. Christensen is getting buckled in for this beautiful weather session that he'll be having. Hopefully no rain. I heard the Triumph weather report. It's getting cold. I don't think rain would make it any more fun. But they are going to change the tires, so that will have been a triple or quadruple stint. Paul will have to let me know for sure. The crew is saying move back out of the way because this car is done and ready to go back out on track. They are just finishing up the left-hand side tires. And you won't be able to hear it zoom quietly back off into the night, but if you could, it would be happening right about now.
So, yeah, we can kind of listen to it in our minds, if nothing else, as it creeps up the pit lane and back into the race.
Yeah, it was a triple stint on the tyres for Duval. The reason it was a triple rather than a quadruple was because Loic came in whilst the safety car was out. They put tyres on it purely because they were going to be stuck in the pit lane anyway, so it made sense to put the new tyres on the car. It's been a monstrous stint. I don't know if Shea's going to get an opportunity to talk to Loic. He got in the car at 6:15. It's now just coming up to 10:15, so he had to get out of the car because that was very nearly a 4-hour stint for Loic Duval. It's as close as you can get to 4 hours, as I say. If you'd have stayed in for another 5 minutes, then he would have been over his 4-hour limit. So if Shea gets a chance to have a word with Loic, then congratulate him on a very good stint, during which time he actually did the fastest lap of the race. I'm not sure if any of our listeners can see the same timing screen that I can see, but if you can, ignore the bit that says that the fastest lap was done by Christensen. It wasn't, it was done by Duval.
Okay.
I can hear something in the team radio, people talking to Stefan Sarrazin, and this is telling Stefan to come into the pits, isn't it? Yes. Stefan Sarrazin then due in for his pit stop. This is now Stefan Sarrazin coming in for the pit stop before the one we've just seen from Duval.
Yeah, yes. If I understand what you mean there, Paul, and that the stagger is very much being taken up, and I heard you saying just a few minutes ago that the Toyotas still are not fast enough in spite of this this pit stop difference, and that was, I know, something which you've been prophetizing for some considerable time. That yes, it's one thing having a better pit stop strategy, but nonetheless it's got to be good as well in terms of having a fast enough car.
Let's hand over to Nick Damon, part of our Powered by Nissan pit lane team, because you've got a good view of Sarrazin's stop in the number 8.
Yeah, and it's going to be a standard routine fuel-only stop, probably about 70 litres or 72 litres, not the 75.3 we saw from Alex Wirtz earlier on. Obviously, this car went out for this last stint in fourth, but it's come back in second. So it's been a very impressive move through the field through absolutely no effort of their own, really, apart from carry on going round. So car door shut again. There's a drinks bottle put in. It'll be fueling is just about to be finished, and of course it goes away on milk float power. Fires up about 4 garages down, and will now carry on its quest, I suppose, really to stay ahead of the fast charging number 3. Because if it rains, it's certainly not going to gain back on the number 2 leading Audi car, unless there's a problem for that car.
The other issue, Nick, for that car that's just having made its pit stop, having made that pit stop, it is now a lap behind. It's off the lead lap. At least, will it be? Actually, it may not be. We'll see when they come round. Indeed.
Paul?
Yes.
The whole thing about going off the lead lap has lost most of its significance since the implication of 3 safety cars, of course.
Absolutely right.
You know, because you bet the most, whereas it used to be an absolutely major thing, now it really only means you miss out the chance of getting a third of a lap and not getting right back up behind the leader.
I agree absolutely, but it is still an emotional thing not to be on a lead lap, because instead of getting a time separating you from your competitor, you get a lap plus time. I mean, if the picture is never enough, then you can work it out, but no, I mean, your point is well made, and it's more of an emotional problem than anything else. So Christensen has already gone through to complete 109 laps, but in fact, because when I was working it out, the Christensen car was still on his out lap, then they are still separated. In fact, if anything, we just checked that. It was a 1 minute 20 pit stop for Tom Christensen to take over from Loic Duval. Stefan Sarazan, of course, it was a fuel-only stop, 1 minute and 13 seconds, so 9 seconds actually gained by Stefan Sarazan on Tom Christensen as a result of that pit stop.
Let's go back down to Nick Damon, who has got an update on a stop for John Martin in the 26G Drive Orica, leading P2 when it came in.
Yes, John's staying on board, no tyres, and the car's being fueled, but there's a problem. I thought the problem was going to be it's being blocked its pit spot by the 67 Instant Performance MacBook Porsche. That isn't the problem. The problem is they've taken off the top cowling cover, and the engineers are having a bit of a route around in the front end of the side pod. There's also a bit of rain in the wind as well. I don't think that's going to amount to anything. We've had that several times before. But this obviously is another misstep, and this is the leader in P2, and it effectively means that lead, which is going to very quickly disappear, it appears, I think, actually what they're trying to do is reattach some of the bodywork actually in that leading edge, the front valance area, almost the back of the fender if it was a car of the 30s with fenders. I think it's come loose, and they're actually trying to tighten on those front pontoons, the side pods. So already time is ticking away, so much so that the IMSA Force MacBook car ahead of it has done a complete tyre change as well. And in fact, they are bringing out a new pontoon for the left-hand side. This is the unit that contains a bit of basically it's cut the rear of the wheel arch, the front left, the wing mirror, and a sort of a flow control into the front of the side pods. And there is now definitely rain in the wind, so perhaps our Triumph Motorcycles weather report was more accurate than our Paul Truswell weather report, and that would be a major surprise so early in the Le Mans 24 hour.
That's cat amongst the pigeons time, I think, Mr. Damon.
No, I've never pretended to know anything about weather.
As Timo Bernard now comes in for that GTE challenge. So the first of those 4 GTE cars is in the pits as well. So we're about to have a very exciting GTE shuffle about.
Technical phrase there. Thanks, Nick. So we'll keep an eye on the GT AM lead battle. But also, I mean, that's headed by Daryl Young at the moment in the car in 55, which is one of the AF Corsa Ferraris, one of 4 red ones, and 3 in GT AM. The 2 pro cars going very well at the moment. They are 5th and 6th within class, so onto the second page, but it's Giancarlo Fisichella in the 51 ahead of Tony Wielander in the 71, and they are 27th and 28th overall. So Bertrand Baguette has taken up P2 lead, not for the first time, after John Martin's pit stop. The 26 car then with a problem. It's the 35 Oak Racing Morgan that leads the way. 8th overall and leading P2 from now the 38 car, which is the Jotiron Zytec, Simon Dolan on board. We've seen Lucas Lowe in that car as well, and a little bit sideways on the approach to Dunlop S's there was the number 7 car driven by Kazuki Nakajima. He had to straight line the second bit of the chicane there, leaving his braking to the very last moment. That may well be the rain starting to influence things, and the number 2 Audi race leading. Now Tom Christensen, the pilot of that, with the windscreen flipping from side to side, so working overtime just to make sure that Tom can see where he's going.
Of course, and we have the note on the screen here that says heavy rain reported at Marshall Post 14, which I guess is probably sort of Dunlop Bridge area, I think, Trusses.
Yeah, it's what you call the Craner curves. It's the Forest S's, the left-handed bend right at the bottom of there is the one that's described as that position. And yes, I mean, this is again just helping a little bit the way that the Toyotas go, because when it starts to get damp, then the Audis, even if they're on slick tyres, just don't seem to be able to exert their advantage into the same effect as they can when it's bone dry. And we saw it earlier on in the race. The Toyotas weren't losing a lot of ground. Then it dried out and the Toyotas lost a lot of ground. Now it's getting damp again. We really have to wait for a lap time to come through for Stefan Sarazan, because he's on his first flying lap following that pit stop at the moment. Of course, the car is still full of fuel, but it's going to be a long and difficult and very interesting night for everybody.
I can hardly wait, and I think we're going to see also just the different architecture of these cars come to the fore, that they do behave very differently, they're designed very differently, and yes, as you say, through the night it's going to be a matter of which conditions and everything else suits which particular design of car.
Absolutely right. Ben Trellier, we keep getting occasional shots of that car, the number 1 Audi, which is still in the pits being worked upon, is coming up now for 40 minutes since it came into the pit. So to all intents and purposes, that has put it completely out of contention. We heard from Oliver Jarvis following that puncture when he was hit by another car, and he had to then complete the whole lap without the rear wheel at all on the car. Very quick repair, and they got on with it again, but it was enough to lose them 2 laps, or a lap and a minute on the competition. So the 2 Toyotas suddenly only have 1 car between themselves and the lead of this race, but of course that car is the one that has Tom Christensen in it at the moment, and which will then get Dalamat Nish put back into it, and then has Loic Duval. That's a pretty strong thing to have up against you. But the chinks have been appearing in the armour, not just of Audi, it has to be said, because Toyota have had their little share of problems as well.
Yeah, and you know, with things like the puncture that we've seen, you can take that one of 2 ways, can't you? You can either say it is very bad luck that it should happen, or it's very good luck that actually he managed to get it back safely without any damage, and that it really was just a matter of throwing another set of boots on the car and getting it back out again, because that kind of damage can be catastrophic, I think it would be fair to say, in some situations. So yeah, it's good news and bad. Looking at the screen that we have here on the monitors, there's some fantastic aerial shots from the helicopter, which really are very, very good indeed. And as it's beginning to get dark, it makes all the more atmospheric. Cars now going down Mulsanne, we're seeing where it's pretty dark. We saw an aerial shot of them turning into the Porsche curves, and through the Travel Destinations Radio Le Mans Travel Club site, on the outside driver's left of the beginning of Porsche curves, and then the view from above over the pits and the paddock area, it really does just make the hairs stand up on the back of your neck when you see those things.
Yeah, I'm sure John Hindhoff is even now trying to negotiate a ride in the helicopter, and if we hear somebody coming in over the top of us going top, talking to you from, then it'll be Hindhoff in the helicopter. Well, I must bring us into to look at this battle that's going on in GTE Pro at the moment. We may not be getting it if you're looking at the screens, but if you're around the circuit, it's just been spoiled a little bit, because into the pits has come 99 Bruno Senna with the Aston Martin. The Porsche, therefore, of Richard Lietz, number 92, has stayed out for a lap longer than the Aston, so the Porsche is actually getting slightly better fuel consumption, and Richard Lietz stays out and thus takes the lead, but he has on his tail, in fact probably up his exhaust pipe just about by now, Peter Dumbreck in the other Aston Martin. So terrific battle on the track between the Porsche number 92, which Richard Lietz is driving, and Peter Dumbreck with the Aston Martin number 97. And as I say, we're going to have both Lietz and Dumbreck in fairly shortly, and then we'll have the three-way battle between the two Astons and the Porsche going forth once again. Meanwhile, back in Audi land, Johnny, tell us about it.
Well, the number one car
Audi
is still...
like it's getting ready.
Does it? Okay, well, there's certainly some frenetic activity down there, and an engine cover possibly being put on. We're getting a great view of the number 66 JMW Motorsport Ferrari with its 125th anniversary for Dunlop on there, and the Audi boys need to be careful not to connect with that yellow Ferrari, which now rejoins the race. But up on the dolly jacks is the number one car being wheeled out of the garage, down onto the ground and back into the race. So they hope, do Audi, with Ben Artrellier still on board the number one car, that problem has been fixed, but it's been a difficult process just to diagnose the issue.
Yeah, it was, according to Shea, who spoke to Dr. Ulrich about it, an electrical generator problem. 43 minutes lost in the pits whilst that was going on.
And they did do a driver change, because it's actually Marcel Fessler now that's on board the number one car. It's rejoined in something like 24th position.
Yeah, so the big charge back up. I mean, he'll certainly be able to get places back from 24th, but not into the into the top 5 at best, I think, subject to any other attrition at the head of the field. Lena Gane getting shots of on the screen there, congratulating the team for a job well done, but she's not going to be looking at the top step of the podium in this race, I don't think.
Obviously that particular stop was serious, and is going to make a lot of difference to the prospects for that number one Audi. But it's been noticeable how just little things, particularly the safety car line up and cars getting stuck behind the wrong safety car, etc., has actually made a really considerable difference to the chances of some of these cars. And there was a time when the Le Mans 24-hour race was very much less competitive, and that you could have, I won't say serious problems, but you could certainly have problems, and it really wouldn't affect even perhaps your place on the racetrack. The odd 30 seconds or minute is actually enough to lose you a place or two in some of the positions that we're seeing on the timing screens. So very much more competitive now than probably it's ever been.
Absolutely right. As in comes Mark, in fact, sorry, out goes Marc Genet at the wheel of the number 3 Audi. That was a fuel-only stop. Was there somebody there, Johnny?
There will have been Shea Adam looking at it, I'm sure. Shea, did you see the stop for the number 3? Oh, sorry, Nick. Beg your pardon.
I was watching the stop. Actually, Shea's just meandered past me, and she's going to be replaced by Mr. Jones in a few moments. But it was a completely routine stop up the Audi. We've had a flurry of P2 action down here. John Martin finally got away after about 7 or 8 minutes stuck in the garage. He was then They went out at the same time as the person who had taken the lead of the pass, which was Bertrand Baguette. He put it for a standard stop. We did also see Jan Marder come on. The interesting thing about that stop was that whilst it was routine, they did have out and waiting to offer some cut slicks. Lawson was doing his tricks at the time. He was slightly wetting one place or the other. In the end, they decided to send him on, and the car seemed to bear no damage from its huge and lurid airborne moment earlier. But certainly P2's hotting up, and Brian's of course waiting for the 92 car down this end, and when Bruce gets up to the Aston Martin end, he'll be waiting for Peter Dunbrek.
Yellow flags being momentarily displayed at Marshall Post 115. Car 25 spun. That's the Delta ADR with its G-Drive sponsorship, the Orica 03, which has been in the wars, including in warm-up this morning, where it had a big crash, Tor Graves at the wheel. They had a lot of damage to repair, tried to sort that out. Then it had an electrical problem, I think, or was it fuel? Anyway, related to that issue, and that took them a bit of time to sort out in the race as well. And now there's been a spin for the 25 car in P2. It is Tor Graves at the wheel again, and that happened at Marshall Point 115. That's not Porsche Curves again, is it?
115 is Porsche Curves,
oh
yes.
Dear.
The first part of Porsche Curves, the bit where the main
Tor
road
went
turns
off this morning.
Yes, exactly so. Nakajima, just to alert the pit lane crew, Nakajima in the number 7 Toyota will be due in at the end of this lap that he is currently on for a fuel-only stop. And at the front of the field, the weather is having its impact. I need to keep an eye on this one, because even though it is nearly a lap that separates first from second, Audi from Toyota, the gap is coming down as a result of faster lap times being set by Stefan Sarazan than by Tom Christensen. Last time it was a 3 minutes 30 for Stefan Sarazan, and for Tom Christensen a 3 minutes and 34 seconds, so a 4-second gain. The lap before that, Christensen did a 3:38, Sarazan did a 3:31. The lap before that, Sarazan did a 3:38, Christensen a 3:37. So as the conditions have worsened, so Sarazan is beginning to exert a bit of an advantage to the tune of 3 or 4 seconds a lap, Johnny. So yeah, rain dance is required if you want Toyota, and the opposite if you want Audi, really.
And certainly it seems, certainly at this end of the circuit, not to be raining. The rain we were expecting has not arrived. And incidentally, I do have an apology to make to Mr. Hindorf, which I've led him down the garden path for 15 years and more, because 15 years ago, he and I had a conversation which said that the pit lane chat in the McQueen film brought about the rain we are expecting has arrived. And I actually watched the John Frankenheimer film a couple of months ago, and I realised it's actually said in the pits at Spa in the Frankenheimer film. It never appeared in Le Mans at all. So I owe John an apology, and that it was lies, all lies.
Do I win a Rolex?
No, you don't win a Rolex.
Oh, come on.
No, it's unfortunately something else. It's my Ticketic Timex, so it'll have to be that one.
GT battle, meanwhile, has kind of unwound itself, because the close battle that was happening before the round of pit stops has now returned to being a close battle. So if you're a GT fan, number 99, Bruno Senna now is at the wheel of the Aston Martin. Ricard Lietz still at the wheel of the Porsche number 92. Peter Dunbrek still at the wheel of the number 97 Aston. So those three cars all having their pit stops, and in fact I don't think there was a driver change in any of them, was there? No, because Dunbrek, in fact that's probably triple stinting for all of them as well, isn't it? Yes, because that is yeah, triple stint for each of them. Then Bruno Senna going off on his triple stint, Ricard Leitz on his triple stint, and Peter Dunbrek on his, and they're separated by some 15 seconds, the three of them, with Bruno Senna 11 seconds ahead, and then 5 seconds behind that is Peter Dunbrek in the Aston Martin. So very close together indeed between the three leading GTE Pro cars. I'm not getting any shots of them on the screen at the moment because I think we're relying pretty much on onboard cameras for the on-circuit coverage.
The number 7 Toyota into pit lane. Kazuka Nakajima at the wheel at the moment, and I think Nick Damon's down there.
I am, and most of that stop's being attacked. Oh, that was a bit of a huge time required to get the fuel pipe off, and then off Nakajima went on full milk float power. So that's about as fast as he can get away. He is currently, of course, third. His teammates in second, but he needs to keep the speed up because in these dry conditions he's being hunted down by the now four wheels on my wagon, car number 3.
Just a mention for, thank you Nick, a mention about Paolo Roberti, who's going incredibly well in the 88 Porsche, second in GT Am at the moment, but starting to reel in Darrell O'Young. Another quickest time for that individual car in this race, a 3:59.6. So the first GT Am car to get below the 4-minute marker, and he's found something like 6 seconds, maybe more than that, on Darrell O'Young. So an impressive stint this from Paolo Roberti in the 88 Porsche. He's second in class. Then Pat Long also in a Porsche in the 77 car is third, although currently in the pits for the car's 9th stop. Raymond Narak completes a second, third and fourth place for the Porsche mark in GT Am. So 88, 77, 76 for IMSA Matmore Performance is fourth in class, but the class being led, as I say, by the A, of course, a Ferrari, number 55 of Darrell O'Young.
And it's very encouraging to see such a variety in the GT classes generally, in both of the GT classes, with as you say, Johnny, Ferrari and Porsche leading the Am class, and the Aston and Porsche leading the Pro class. It's also possibly worth a mention, or just a discussion as much as anything, that we have Giancarlo Fisichella in the number 51 Ferrari, obviously a Formula One refugee, I suppose it would be fair to say. Bruno Senna leading that pro class in the Aston Martin. Some drivers transfer out of Formula One into sports car racing successfully, and I think both of those two, you could say, that is true. Some less so, and that's clearly, it is quite likely that we're going to see some Formula One names join us in sports car racing again next year, and that's going to be an interesting thing to see as well.
Okay, it has just gone 37 minutes past 10 o'clock, so high time. We did one of these. If you're waiting for it, apologies.
The hourly update, powered by Audi.
Over to Paul Trustwell to give us an update on how things are doing after how many hours?
7 hours and 37 minutes. And the one thing I hate about this race these days is it just goes quicker and quicker and quicker every year. And yeah, 7 hours and 37 minutes into it. Tom Christensen leads the race for Audi. He's in his first stint behind the wheel. He's just recently taken over the wheel of the car, and he leads the race by 2 3/4 minutes from Stefan Sarazan. And on that last lap, he did at least lap more quickly than Stefan Sarazan, but the laps seemed, and that's possibly because the weather's improving as it drizzles, so the Toyotas lap more quickly, and if it's dry, then the Audis lap more quickly. So 2 3/4 minutes is the gap between Christensen and Sarazan, first and second. In third place is Kazuki Nakajima at the wheel of the number 7 Toyota. He's just had the equivalent pit stop that Sarrazin had a little while ago, and apart from being further behind on the pit stop strategy, has also lost some time with nearly running out of petrol, and he also stopped out on the circuit whilst a mystery ailment was resolved, and he now is 1 minute and 25 seconds behind Stefan Sarrazin. So Audi leads, Toyota's second and third. In fourth place is Audi number 3. Marc Genet is at the wheel of that one at the moment, and he is about 2 minutes or so behind Nakajima, 2 laps behind Tom Christensen as a result of a puncture that befell Oliver Jarvis earlier in the race. That's fourth. In fifth place is the fastest of the Rebellion Lolas, number 13, Matthias Besch. He is a further lap behind the Audi of Marc Genet, and then Nick Leventis now behind the wheel of the Stracker HPD. He's in sixth place, car number 21, a further lap behind the Rebellion Lola number 13. Also nearly 2 minutes behind the Stracker racing car is the number 12 Rebellion Lola, which Nicolas Prost is driving. That's seventh. In eighth place is the fastest of the LMP2 cars, and that's number 35, Bertrand Baguette, now behind the wheel of the Oak Racing Morgan, and he is about a minute ahead of the number 38 Zytek from the Jota team, which Simon Dolan is lapping, although Baguette is pulling away from Simon Dolan at the moment. Simon only a silver driver, Baguette a silver or a gold or a platinum driver. I think Baguette is a platinum, yes. So 35 pulling away from 38, first from second. And then in third place in LMP2 is another of the Oak Racing Morgans, this one in the hands of Olivier Pla, car number 24, but that's only 25 seconds behind Simon Dolan, although he's just had a pit stop, so that one will be, that gap will be going up when it comes round at the end of the next lap. In GTE Pro, we've got a very close battle indeed between 2 Aston Martins and a Porsche, and those three cars have pulled away to the tune of about 2 minutes from the rest of the field, and that all happened as a result of the very first safety car session that we had right at the beginning of the race. So it really is just a three-way battle between Bruno Senna in number 99, Ricard Leitz in number 92, and Peter Dumbreck in number 97. They're on very similar refueling strategies. There's 12 seconds separating Senna from Leitz, and a further 8 seconds separating Leitz from Peter Dumbreck in the second of the Astons, the number 97 car. In the GTE AM class, the leader there is still the number 55 Porsche, which Darrell Young is back in now. Remember, he was the one who started the AF Corsa car, and they've been leading for quite a long time, although the gap of an advantage that they've got has come down quite a lot recently. It's still the 88 Proton car in second place, but it's now down to just 23 seconds separating first from second in that class. And then third, being a good day for Proton so far, because their number 77 car, the Patrick Long, Joe Foster, Patrick Dempsey car, is third in GTE AM, a further minute and 17 seconds behind the sister car, the number 88. So 55 Ferrari leading 88 Porsche and 77 Porsche in GTE AM. And so that's the end of the hourly update. We'll try and be a bit more on time for the next one. Apologies for that. But we are, as I say, now on 103 laps. As you were, we're on 116 laps completed. And as I say, we'll try and get the next update a little bit earlier than that.
The hourly update on Radio Le Mans with Audi TDI. Vorsprung durch Technik.
Here's Paul Tarsi. What have you spotted, Paul?
I'm just enjoying the view in many ways, Johnny. That the dark has now descended properly on the circuit. We are not currently seeing any of the rain. But it's always one of those things where they say there's 75% chance of rain, which is what what we had from the Triumph Motorcycles weather report, whether that's 75% of a 5-minute shower or whether it's 75% of a 2-hour downpour doesn't really tell us. So currently it is dry, and currently looking up at the sky, it's not too cloudy either. But we can still see up into the sky, and there are even some blue bits even at this late time of night, with 11:45 on local time here at the Circuit de la Sarthe, and that we are now well into night racing, Johnny.
Very much so, and the P2 battle that I was really looking forward to before the race even started is not disappointing for me. Very, very intriguing. We got 3 P2 cars in the top 10 overall, and slowly but surely the
G97 Aston make their equivalent stops, and it gets the lead back again. So it's leading, but at a cost, a small cost of having the extra fuel.
Depends where the end of the race comes up, I suppose.
Exactly, and I'm not working that one out yet because there's far too many slips twixt Cup and Lip for that one.
Yes.
I always enjoy seeing the second class, whichever that may be, in whichever years and formulae that we've seen this race run to, creeping up the leaderboard. And as you say, Johnny, we've got 8th, 9th and 10th are now LMP2 cars, and let's face it, the likelihood is that there will be further dramas for the first 7 cars, one way or another. I really do love to see the P2s moving up and just getting up amongst the top rank.
Let's hear for the first time from Bruce Jones, part of our Powered by Nissan pit lane team, because not too far away from Bruce is a pit stop for Matthias Besch in the number 13 Rebellion. Evening, Bruce.
Good evening. It's proper Le Mans now. It's dark, a bit blowy, but the Ferris wheel looks great, and Rebellion 13 looks great. A fuel-only pit stop. I'm coming at a sort of fairly quiet time during the pits, but one driver I was watching before I came in, he pitted just about the time you were doing the sort of rundown. Car 24, Olivier Pla in LMP2 has been lapping really, really well indeed. There are about 4 drivers. Jan Mardenborough is also lapping really quickly in LMP2. A watch too for car number 1. We know we had that huge problem. They were runaway leaders. It was hauled in by the safety car, but he's now lapping fastest of all, but he's down in 23rd place. That's Marcel Fessler in Audi number 1. Good to be back in the pits.
And here's the other half of our pit lane team, Nick Damon.
With Giancarlo Fisichella at the AF Corsa pits. Giancarlo, it seems that the Ferrari doesn't have the pace of the Aston Martins and the Ferraris at the moment, and the Porsche at the moment.
Yeah, we knew that. But today, I think whatever result we do, I think today is a sad day. We lost one of our friends, and it's difficult to continue after this sad happening. So I have nothing to say. Sorry.
That's okay. Thank you, Giancarlo. I think we echo his feelings.
Very much so. Particularly the GT paddock is such a tightly knitted group of people that travel the world together in this circus that is sports car racing, and they've lost a close friend along with a competitor. Alan Simonson, a true professional in every sense of the word, and is racing in all sorts of different GT categories virtually every single weekend. He's a regular in the British GT Championship with Hector Lester at the Rosso Verde team, but he also, I mean, I've seen him race in Australia at Surfers Paradise. I know he did the Bathurst 12 Hours this year as well, and if there is a GT race, generally Alan Simonson took part in it.
Yeah, absolutely, and quick as well. I mean, no
super quick.
He was a super quick driver, and you can understand why. I forgot which driver it was we were talking to earlier on, who was asked how does he put it out of his mind, and he said he doesn't. He drives with the knowledge of what he's doing and what has happened, and that I think sums it up quite well in many ways. pit stop for race leader Tom Christensen coming in at the end of his 118th lap, which is 10 laps since he last came in. So
very much according to plan then.
And Tom Christensen pulls into the pits. Bruce Jones is there.
All quite nice, ordered stuff at Audi. The door's up, but Christensen is not getting out. Well, he'll catch the team on the hop if he did. Duval's gone to bed, and I guess McNish is just starting to surface for his run later on. But Tom staying on board, refueling being undertaken. Man at the front on his knees with his hand up saying, stop, and now go. So nice, simple stop there for race leader Tom Christensen. Obviously the race has come to number 2. They were worried about what they could do to catch number 1, but at the moment it's come their way. So the Dane goes out to lead the race.
And from P2 and from 5th position, Pierre Caffer has pitted in the number 49 Pecom Racing Orica. Nick is there.
And it was a full service, it was tyres, a driver change. Nick Manassian has squeezed himself into the car after an inordinate amount of overall shuffling before he got in. I don't know, he wasn't quite sitting right in his fireproof underwear, I think.
Got a safety car, Nick.
We have a safety car, so I have no idea what's caused that. Johnny?
No idea either, but there was an incident at 115 again, which is Porsche Curves, the entrance to Porsche Curves at Marshall Point 115. I know that's a favourite corner for Tor Graves to have some kind of incident. Let's hope that that 25 car is not involved. It's actually some debris on the track at Marshall Post number 115 and a car on driver's left as well, but the debris is the most pressing issue, it looks like. Not sure what car is involved at 115.
I think it might.
And also the 33 car is having problems. That's the level 5 Motorsport HBD. Bruce, are you close to that?
I can smell it. I'm right in front of the garage. Scott Tucker's staying on board. They've just pushed it in, and the smoke billowing out of the exhaust. 2 cars stuck just to my right as I look out. The Rebellion number 12 and Pecom 49 being stuck at the end of the pit lane. They just missed out on their timing.
I think the car that's off might be your old friend Tor Graves again.
Really?
I'm afraid it's not.
It's the 33. It's Ryan Briscoe.
Oh, okay, right.
39.
It's not the 33 because that's in the pits with Scott Tucker at the wheel. The 39 DKR Engineering Lola's gone spinning at the Dunlop S's as well. What number is it, John, that's had grief at Porsche Curves? We still don't know.
No, it's on the screen. It's number 25.
Oh, it is the 25 car. It is Tor Graves. I shouldn't have spoken so early with that because that's the 3rd incident now that Tor has had.
You almost hexed him, didn't you, by saying that? Yeah, and that's a fairly significant shunt. I think we've got a snatch tractor there. Marshall's in the middle of the track with
very reminiscent of the accident this morning in warm-up. I can't see what angle the car is at, whether it's gone in backwards again, but Tor has lost the car presumably there. I don't know at this stage whether there was another car involved. It's left a lot of debris across the track, but also should another car go off at that point into the tyre wall, the car is in the firing line. So perfectly understandable why the safety car has been deployed. Is this safety car period number 4?
It is absolutely
we
right.
We had 2 back-to-back when I was listening to the race rather than commentating on it, and obviously that lengthy period at the start of the race as well.
Absolutely right. Yes, we are on the 4th safety car. It's an hour and 22 minutes is the cumulative time behind the safety car as well. So let's hope we can get this one sorted fairly quickly, although it might be a bit of barrier work to be done, although I think that's actually concrete behind that tyre wall there, isn't it? So hopefully that won't have require replacing.
The guys down at the Travel Destinations campsite will know all about that. Of course, that's a prime spot to be able to view from that area at Porsche Curves. Now, Nick Damon reckons that the Nick Leventis HPD, the Straka Racing Run HPD, had to come in for a stop at that point.
Well, there's no reason not to come in otherwise, because you're going to get stuck and lose a point. They've come in, they've just taken on fuel, so it must have been just the end of his run, and he's caught at the end on the red light, as is the 45 oak art car. Those are just the only two callers during this particular safety car. They now sit at the end of the pit lane for about a minute and a half, I would think.
Could be even longer than that, Nick. The safety car hasn't yet reached the Porsche curbs, so they have to wait until the safety car passes the scene of the incident, then comes all the way through the Porsche curves, and then comes through the Ford chicane, and then the whole of the train behind it gets all the way through there. Before they're going to be able to join in again, so, and that's going to be about 3.5 minutes wait, I suspect. You're absolutely right. It had no option but to come in on that lap. The last time it was in was on lap 101, so it was a 13-lap stint for Stracker, making use of their nice large new fuel tank. But as I say, 13 laps is as much as you're going to get. And just looking down to see if anybody else is going to be in the same boat. And I think I'll come back to you when I've worked that out. But there's none that immediately spring to mind.
A young Brazilian is waiting at Audi to clamber on board the number 3 R18, and Bruce isn't too far away. Mark Genet in the car at the moment, but we're expecting a pit stop for the number 3 car, Bruce, from 4th position.
Of course, the wait could be a long one. Obviously, these cars coming round behind the safety car, it's a very, very slow lap indeed. Paul, were you expecting to be a driver change from Genet to Di Grassi so quickly?
Not really. They went out. Genet went out at 21:47.
After the puncture, after Ollie Jarvis brought the car around.
Precisely so, yes, and that was an hour and 15 minutes ago. I've got the car due in for its next pit stop at the end of its lap 121 or 122, and it's currently only on 117. So with the safety car, I'd be surprised if it actually comes in. It may just be that they're at a state of readiness, but here it is. No, you're absolutely right. It is in the pit lane even as I speak.
Yeah, and as the safety car goes past, there are 3 cars at pit exit waiting to rejoin, including number 33, which is Scott Tucker. Engine woes of some sort, but they've stopped it smoking, still waiting.
I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, Bruce, but as it came into the pit lane, the number light on the side of the car, which has to be illuminated these days, it's in the regulations, wasn't on. And I don't know if that's maybe why they've had to bring it in early, because that number light is not on the side of the car.
No, it's sleeping, I think.
Yes, so that's
that could delay them. So Genet is coming out. Well, hold on, is he coming out? Just wait and have a look. Other doors opening. Yep, he's been released, and Di Grassi will climb in. Hopefully, Mark will come over and have a word after a debrief, because I think there will be a bit of a debrief after that if they've got out of cycle there. Just to my left, one of the Lotuses, the remaining Lotus, number 30. Number 3 going into the garage, up onto the dollies, spun round and reversed in. Oh dear for Audi. Now let's see. I wonder if this is related at all to what happened to number 1 car. No reason why it should be.
No, I think it's to do with that electrical thing. Although you tell us, as I say, the requirement is to have numbers that are lit up on the side. It's not an option these days. It's a regulation.
New nose for number 46 to my right as I run across the track. That's being fitted. Engine cover off at the back, it's sitting high, and they're doing the same sort of jiggling as they were to number 1 not so long ago, some hour or so ago. And we all know that led to that car falling down to the 24th position, right to the foot of the lead page on the screens. Number 46 has rejoined behind me, still in the thick of the LMP2 battle, but let's see, the whole engine cover at the back has been taken off and removed right to the back of the garage. In fact, it's going out into the paddock, and a new one is about to be fitted to Audi number 3. Mechanics at the front still holding the car, jigging it up and down, trying to see what they're doing down in the side pod. I might look through the other side of the garage and have a little view, see if I can get a better shot of it. A lot of work in the side pod, so I think, in fact, you're quite right, Paul, they are trying to fix those lights around the number.
Yes, and of course, it may well be that they're just choosing this moment whilst the safety car is out. If they've got a long pit stop to do, then even though you get held at the end of the pit lane whilst the safety car queue comes round, you do still benefit, because the time that you lose while you're stationary is not as much as it would be otherwise. So Audi number 2 continues to lead, Tom Christensen, and the two Toyotas.
New front bodywork as well being brought out for number 2. I think, as you say, they're doing a massive change of everything, so they'll wait for that to get to the front of the garage. And one in insistence, they put it down halfway through the garage. They're going to come out through the front. We'll stand aside to let them do their job. A lot of people in the way, so we'll just move out of the way. I wasn't in the way, I hasten to add, of course.
Of course, Bruce. That's goes without saying. But this has all the hallmarks of something rather more than routine, doesn't it? And yes, it may well just be those lights on the side of the car, but
well, to my untrained eye, it looks remarkably like the nose cone that came off. But as soon as they plugged it on, the lights all started working. So at least the connectors work with the bodywork. And I'll wait for Dr. Ulrich to come out, but he's gone out of the back of the garage to the secret enclave to find out what's happening. But a lot of work in garage for number 3. Already fallen down to 4th place and will be falling further and further as we speak.
And if we'd been talking about unreliability at the top of this timing screen, I think everybody would have said that Audi were the cast iron ones and Toyota perhaps would have a more difficult time. That isn't the case with Toyota in 2nd and 3rd positions now, the 8 and then the 7 sitting behind the number 2 car with Tom Christensen at the wheel at the moment. And one of the Toyotas now coming down pit lane.
And with Nick Damon.
Yeah, so the number 8 car is coming in. They're going to take a full service. I think that whether or not they need tyres, obviously, as we know, under the safety car procedures, we know over a lap behind the leading number 2. And we drop the car down. Oh, and they're having a bit of a look around as well. So they have finished everything, but they're now having a look at what's going on. So I think this is, again, they know they've got an extra 30 seconds, so they may as well do something with it. And this is a little adjustment to the passenger, so the driver's side door, it's the left-hand side door. In fact, they're using duct tape. Oh, I'm really pleased. The first, what it is the pad which prevents the driver's head, it holds the driver's head up in high-speed corners when he's going around the right-hand side. So basically it's like a G-force head support for his neck. That had come off, and so they've actually restarted with genuine, top-quality duct tape. And now the car trolls down on Milk Power, fires up, and waiting at the end of the pit lane for the lights to go green when the next safety car train has passed it.
Let's have a look at the weather on Radio Le Mans with Triumph Motorcycles, Britain's #1 bike market. Just gone 11 o'clock local time here at Le Mans in France. 16 degrees Celsius currently. It'll be a low of 12 degrees Celsius tonight. A 10% chance of rain now. Currently 72% humidity and a wind speed of 12 miles per hour. Triumph Motorcycles, class leaders in every respect. You can get more information from @official Triumph. So into what hour is this now, Paul? I can't count backwards. I've realised
no,
that. There are 16.
We're 8 hours into the race. We're into the 9th hour, therefore, and the safety car due in at the end of this lap. The safety car that is coming through the Ford chicane, however, if you can see it, it says it has got a big C on the side of it, and so it will be pulling off halfway down the Mulsanne straight. The safety car, which is on its way to us, therefore, will be the one that turns its lights out in just a little while. So large number of cars pulling off and coming into the pits. For at this point, it is worth pulling into the pits because now you get your refuelling done while the cars are out on the Mulsanne straight, still going slowly. And by the time you've done your refuelling, then there won't be a safety car out, and of course the pit lane exit will then have a green light at it, so you lose less time.
A very tight window now between this safety car train and the next crocodile. Can the number 3 Audi get out in time before the next one comes through? Bruce Jones.
Well, it was out of the garage as you speak, parked diagonally. It's raced up, not far it has to go, only about 100 yards most, to the pit exit. The train of cars has just come down, and the safety car, behind the safety car, they have been released. So number 3, they maximised their time in the pits. They changed the front bodywork, the back bodywork. I will now try and get a word with Dr. Ulrich, who is not yet back in the garage. But number 3, time lost, but not as much as it could have been.
No, it was a 7-minute pit stop, 7 minutes and 40 seconds pit stop. And as you say, Lucas de Grassi now behind the wheel of that car.
And it's fair to say, of course, that all of this is part of a much bigger picture, that the strategists within the team will know exactly how long they have got to hold the car in the pits, and that they can consequently make that plan, decide exactly what they're going to do, and to get the car to the end of the pit lane just to hit it at the right time to get out behind whichever safety car it is that they've aimed for. It's not a matter of luck, and it's not a matter of chance. They're planning to do that. We saw the number 3 Audi having come out of the pits, then having to do one of those rather merry dances because he had actually overtaken whichever car it is that's in front of him simply on acceleration out of the pits, and then realised that he shouldn't have done it.
I think it's the Morand Racing car, number 43, one of the Morgans, isn't it?
Right. Yeah, that would fit. And the Audi slowed down, and so did the Morgan. Audi wanting the Morgan to pass, and they both went through the Dunlop chicane at a snail's pace, and then I think the penny dropped, and that we then saw the change, and that's how they go down the Mulsanne straight now. That we're waiting now for the safety cars to come in. Lights are out on the cars, and they will be in this lap. The cars now coming down in front of us here at the Ford chicane, and the safety car is in, and therefore the other 2 cars will be as well. So the due diligence is done out at the Porsche curves. Make sure that's all right, and safety cars now safely back in place, and we're racing again.
16 minutes lost under that particular safety car, which added to the previous hour and 22 minutes, gives us an hour and 38 minutes currently lost behind the safety car. Not as bad as we've had in some years, but we've got a long way to go yet. So the leader, meanwhile, wasn't in that group that was behind the safety car across the start-finish line. The leader, number 2, Tom Christensen, is out on the Mulsanne straight at the moment, and immediately as the track goes green again, we get yellow flags appearing at the second chicane on the Mulsanne straight, as if somebody again, after being behind the safety car, cold tyres, don't quite get going again as quickly as you need to.
Straight down to Nick Damon, part of our Powered by Nissan pit lane team, with a car that's had problems in P2.
With John Martin from the G-Type car. John, you had a great stint, but there was a problem in your penultimate pit stop. What happened?
The left-hand side number panel wasn't working, so we just decided to change it then, rather than being told off for not having it working. So we're in the pits, so it's perfect time. I know we lost some time, but overall I think it was good. We didn't have to make another stop just to change that. So car's still going good. Mike's just got back in, so I think we can get our lap back.
It's been a very interrupted race by weather and safety cars. Is it hard to get a rhythm going?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. The start of the race was crazy with the rain and stuff. I came in just at the end of the stint, and I was like, I need inters. And well, luckily for us, we had a puncher at the start, so we were off sequence with everybody else, but it sort of worked out good. Went to the inters. Mike went out and done a triple stint on the inter. So, but yeah, I mean, I don't know what it is at the moment. The track's really low grip all of a sudden, and I can't see any rain, but that's sort of what it feels like a bit of moisture in the air or something. But so I'm pleased to be out at the moment. I'll let Mike take over on some fresh rubber.
John, thanks very much, and best luck for you remaining, 16 hours, isn't it?
So John Martin from the number 26 car, Mike Conway in the machine at the moment. We see a spin for the 57 Krone Racing Ferrari on the start and finish line, I think. Yes, it is, and it's very close to the pit wall as well. I don't know whether it made contact with that. The 57 car.
And that's with Tracy Crone at the wheel.
Tracy Crone wheel.
Tracy Crone, of course, had a huge accident on Wednesday night with his original Ferrari. Had to go and get another one.
It was in free practice from memory. It was towards the end of the 6 hours of free practice. It's in the third sector now, so the Crone Racing Ferrari has rejoined without a problem. Yeah, looks like a respectable middle sector time. Oh, it was on the restart, was it? After the safety car went in, beg your pardon. Okay, so right in front of us. I missed that. And see, now it's dark, it's difficult to pick these things out.
And Tracy Crone also had a spin at the first part of the Ford chicane earlier on today. So he spent a fair amount of time travelling backwards in a green Ferrari, which is I'm sure the title of a country music song. But it's car's now back down in front of us. We're seeing the view from the Audi.
There's been another moment for not another moment. Well, another moment at Porsche curves, but for the 92 car, Richard Leitz on board the 92 Works Porsche was second. It spun and continued at Marshall Point 115, which is Porsche curves, Torgrave's favourite part of the circuit, and it's down to third position. So the 97 Aston has moved into second place. Meanwhile, let's have a word with Mark Genet, who's with Bruce Jones.
Okay, hopefully I can get Mark back. He's now talking to Howden Haynes. He was with me for a second during that. He'll come out in a moment. I'll let you know when he's back. He's gone for another debrief. I missed my chance, but I'll get him.
I missed your chance. So
something like that.
Yeah, no, don't worry. I'm sure we'll be able to get him back. Apologies for that, Bruce. So Richard Leitz down to third position, as I say, within GT Pro. Give me a shout again, Bruce, and we'll skip in with that interview with Mark Genet, who has recently vacated the number 3 car. Lucas Di Grassi on board now and in fourth position. So
we've seen Jeroen Bleekemolen go straight on at the chicane as well. So
what chicane was that?
That was one of the Mulsanne chicanes. I'm not sure which.
Okay. So rather than the chicane right in front of us, because I'm aware that I'm missing quite a bit here at Ford chicane, despite us having a cracking view of it. Yellow flags being shown at Marshall Point 50 now, 50, as one of the Labra competition Corvettes gets some fuel on board.
It's halfway down the Mulsanne straight. That's not at a corner, it's between the two chicanes.
That would tend to indicate something other than a straightforward spin. It might be a tyre or something like that.
Or a mechanical problem.
Or a mechanical problem. Or debris, something fallen off.
Indeed.
So we'll see if we get any coverage on the monitors for that, and keep you informed as to what's coming on with that. But that's Marshall Post 50, halfway down the Mulsanne straight. There is a yellow flag, but no information currently about a car off. But we'll keep you informed on that.
And the 50 car has just had a stop. That's Patrick Bornhauser in the Labra competition Corvette, fuel and tyres. Patrick stayed on board, and it's currently 6th in GT AM. Let's go back to Bruce with Mark Genet.
Okay, Mark, thanks for waiting. Why did number 3 have to go in the garage?
We had various problems which we had to solve at some point. And when there was the long safety car, then we thought it was the right time. So there were different things that were not going right. And we took advantage of the safety car, which was the right thing, because we only lost a lap and it was a 7-minute pit stop.
Were you due to change, or did you use the time to put Lucas in the car?
I was supposed to go a bit longer, but I also had the hard compound. It's too cold. My tires were not working very well. And usually you change drivers when you change tires, so we changed tires for Luca, and that's why we changed driver as well.
We also changed the front bodywork, the back bodywork. What else got changed?
Yeah, the front, because it was damaged. I think when Luca had an off early on. I think the side was a bit damaged when Oli had the punctures as well. We changed a few things.
Okay, thanks for waiting. It's Mark Genet, a real gentleman.
So it's one of those things now where we're we're seeing that shopping list of things that Audi needed to do. No panic, and they're talking about needing to have various things done and choose the time to get it done rather than to rush in and panic. Very much the Audi that we know and love of doing everything methodically, practically, sensibly, using the safety cars as best they can. Number 1 now back down into the pits.
A moment or two ago, I saw the I saw a Toyota coming past us here at Ford Chicane with 2 lights on it, followed by an Audi with 1 light on it. So that suggests that Tom Christensen was about to lap Kazuka Nakajima. Would that have put the Toyota 2 laps down then?
No, just the 1 lap down.
1 lap down. Okay.
Nick suggested that it was a lap down already a little while ago, but it is currently a lap ahead. Not quite a lap ahead, just under a lap ahead.
Yes.
Into the pits now, though, is coming the number 1 Audi, and that can't possibly be.
It's in front of it.
Yes, it is. It is 10 laps already. It's been going out for. So it could just be a scheduled stop for the Marcel Fessler-driven car.
Does it look fairly routine, Bruce?
100% routine. Yeah, came in. There was. It's funny when you look at the body language. I know a few seconds lost here or there for them with number 1 will make not a jot of difference. They've lost so many laps, but Fessler stayed on board. Oliver Turvey might be making car 38 go quite fast. He's just gone out, just took over a couple of laps ago, or a lap and a half ago, for Jota Sport. They're going well. Oliver Turvey certainly the hot shoe in that one. Well, actually, no, Lucas Lure's no slouch now I think about it.
Leading GTM car coming into the pits. Paolo Roberti, a sublime stint this, as I say, putting the fastest time of that for that car not too long ago, and has been lapping just below the 4-minute mark in the number 88 car. It's come in for a stop though now. It's 9th stop. Paolo Roberti then relinquishing the class lead to Pat Long. Say again, Nick.
Number 88 is staying in the car. Paolo Roberti, no driver.
Yes, he is. No, I didn't say he was a driver change. I said relinquishing the lead to Pat Long.
The car.
No, not the car.
No.
Just the class lead. You need to start opening your ears, Damon. Nicola Manassian is going very quickly as well in the number 49 car. That's the Pecom Racing Orica. And Manassian, the Frenchman, putting in the car's fastest time of the race so far. I was looking out for the 2 leading cars to come through, but I've missed that now. Tom Christensen, I think, still just behind Kazuka Nakajima and not yet having lapped that car, but he is moments away from doing that as Paolo Roberti rejoins the race. So that would have been fuel at best, I think, possibly the same tyres. And the 88 car threading its way through the chicane at the Dunlop S's there and underneath the bridge towards Forest S's. And now the P2 leader comes into pit lane from 8th place overall. It's Bertrand Baguette at the wheel of the 35 Oak Racing Morgan, and Nick Damon's very close by.
I am. I'm close by in many ways, and the Benny Breadstick himself, it looks like he's staying in the car again for a 3rd stint. There's no tyres being offered at the moment. It's just a fuel only by the looks of it. So he's taken over that car, obviously after the 24 hits and problems after problem Dave Anamar Hansen, but the Oak cars are certainly in the class of the field. There's a long way to go, as they say, and there's with Ollie Turvey now in the Zytek. That's talking about another Zytek. The Zytek this 41, the coaching car, I'm afraid, is spending more time in the pits. It's had a few problems. It's just had another good old look at both fenders off and a fiddle with the front of it. And now it's coming back out on the apron again after missing some time. And quite soon, the 42 in sister car down Mardenborough, who's doing particularly well in Pete at the moment. He's running in 3rd overall. He'll be in for a scheduled stop as well as the 42-1 leaves, and they wait for the 42 at the Breeze Zytek pit.
Thank you, Nick. The 3rd place GTM Ferrari has just gone through. Darrell O'Young still at the wheel, number 55 car, easy to pick out because, well, it's red with the, I think it's got an amber A-pillar, but crucially it's got 3 orange lights down the side of it as well to tell us that it's in 3rd position, behind Pat Long in the 77 and behind Paolo Roberti in the 88. They're both Porsches, and Darrell O'Young driving a Ferrari. Just gone 11:15. Let's give you a rundown then of the classes, how they sit at the moment. Top threes. It's the number 2 Audi that leads the race overall. Tom Christensen at the wheel of the number 2 R18. The number 7 Toyota TS030 is in second position. Kazuki Nakajima at the wheel, and the number 8 Toyota, Stefan Sarazan, is currently third within P1. P2 was being led by Bertrand Baguette in the 35 Morgan Oak Racing Morgan, but that's just come in for a stop, so Olivier Pla will be out in front now. And as I say that, the third place P2 car, number 42 for Greaves Motorsport, the Zytek, driven by Jan Mardenborough, born in Darlington, raised in South Wales, is currently in third position and coming in for a stop. So Olivier Pla should be in the race lead once things shake out. That'll put Oliver Turvey in second place in the 38 Jota run Zytek, and then probably Bertrand Baguette into third, but we'll give you an update on that as things shake out.
I was just going to say, if you want to look at the battle for not the lead, but the battle for the lap, it's just gone across the start-finish line, and it is now a whole lap, because Tom Christensen is a lap and a couple of yards ahead of Kazu Nakajima. So you wanted to look at it, you saw it now, you've seen it with your own eyes.
Absolutely.
Back to the GETE battle.
I'm pleased you said that about that, Trussers, because I mean, people watching at the circuit now will see an Audi with a single dot and a Toyota with 2 dots. Unfortunately, they're not racing for the lead because they are a lap apart now.
Exactly so.
And it's useful to point that out. Bruce Jones, you've got an update.
Well, I just was taking a look down the Viper pit, and as I approached, car 53 was pushed back into the garage. That's the one that's had most of the trouble. And Mark Goosen stayed aboard, but they had to do a disc change. So not totally speedy, but in fact, considering what they were doing, not too bad. But that's tumbled down the order to almost the bottom of the second page, 47th overall, whereas the sister car is 10 places higher up with Kuno Whitmer at the wheel. So really you should say the A crew in the Viper is not doing as well as the B crew at the moment.
My memory at this time of night is failing me. Was it the 53 that ended up in the gravel at the Ford chicane, or was that the 93?
I think I might have been having a very fine supper at Smoking Dog at that time.
As much
as you tried to stay in touch.
I think it was 53.
Okay, well, we'll go with that one having most of the trouble and the 93 having a slightly better run so far. The Jan Mardenborough Zytek, run by Greaves Motorsport, has a problem, reckons Nick Damon. Let's go down to the Powered by Nissan pit lane.
It had a problem. It's blown about 20 seconds because it's done a 124 stop, but it didn't change tyres. It had a problem refiring, and I think they had to do a control alt delete reset on the steering wheel, and that wastes about 20 seconds of relative what the heck's going on. I think interesting also they were poking around in the cockpit prior to the problem, and there were tie wraps. Unfortunately, no duct tape, but I think they're probably worried they might have a loose something or other sending a radio signal. So that could be a one-off, or it could be a portent of bigger starting problems to come.
I'm just going to finish off this mini update, and then you can speak, Paul, because I'm aware, Tarsi, that it's been a little while since you've said anything, so apologies for that. The 99 car, driven by Bruno Senna, that's the Aston Martin, has just gone through to start its 114th lap. It leads GT Pro and is 17th overall from the 97 sister car, Peter Dumbreck at the wheel, so it's 99 from 97, first and second within GT Pro. Third place, the Richard Leitz 92 Porsche, that's the 991 body shape for the 911, and it is in third position in GT Pro. GT Am, led by Pat Long, I've said that already, the 77 Porsche from the 88 Paolo Roberti version, and then the 55 Ferrari of Darrell O'Young, that's the AF Corsa car, so Porsche, Ferrari, GT Am. Paul?
We talked earlier on about the psychological importance of having a lap lead, and that Tom Christensen has now got that over Kazuki Nakajima, and that whilst whether you're in front or behind clearly doesn't make a huge amount of difference one way or the other, but it is an important step, and that we're now seeing Kazuki Nakajima on 123 laps with Tom Christensen on 124. The number 8 Toyota is then on the same lap as his teammate, but that will be important, and that will give Audi a very warm feeling at this stage, particularly with what would seem now to be a dryish night. That it looks from our Triumph Motorcycles weather update that it is going to be, I think it was a 10% chance of rain that we have currently. So that is going to work towards Audi as well, and that if that's the case, then that number 2 looks pretty set fair, to continue to use the weather analogy, and that could be a very, very good sign for Audi.
Despite Bertrand Baguette's recent pit stop, he hasn't lost the lead. Such is his advantage over his teammate Olivier Pla. So it is the two Morgan with their Nissan engine cars run by Oak Racing that lead the way, 35 from 24. Olivier Pla getting towards the end of his stint. A very light car he has now, and that's the reason why he's just done the fastest time that car has done so far in the race through Sector 1, a 34.5.
Talking of light cars, Johnny, so also as Kazuo Nakajima just set his fastest lap of the race in that number 7 car, 3:27.555, and he is due in at the end of this lap that he is on. So the Toyota number 7, let's say 3:27.555, that time very close to Tom Christensen's time, except that Loic Duval's already done a 3:23. So although at the moment perhaps it is a little bit greasy, maybe just some moisture in the air, dew point is very high or low, just means you get a lot of dew on the grass, and so that's just making it a little bit moist, but expect Nakajima in at the end of this lap, and it'll be probably fuel only, and Nakajima doing a triple at least.
That very impressive time from Toyota in warm-up this morning, I think it was Nick Lapierre that put the time in. Was that something like a 3:26.2?
It was a 3:26.2, yes, well remembered.
1.3 seconds off that time, Kazuki Nakajima.
Which isn't a lot in all things considered. But I think it made everybody sit up and take notice this morning when suddenly we saw that. But you have to say that although Audi, with 2 of their cars, have had some problems, this is a very, very good performance by Toyota so far. And it is only so far, because clearly there is only the first third of this race has gone so far.
Can we listen to team radio?
Yes.
Not quite sure what that was, but Tom Christensen just went straight on at the first chicane on the Mulsanne straight.
I think he said something about a cooler.
Right. Whether it was, I couldn't pick it out, but Kyle Wilson-Clark on the radio to Tom Christensen. He's not coming into the pits this time. He's due in, Tom, at the end of lap 128, or thereabouts. And as I say, Nakajima, the closest opposition, going through for another lap, I think, on that last time. Yes, so the cooler conditions, it was John Heintoff earlier on who said that there is a low grip setting which enables them to use the fuel a little bit more efficiency when the grip gets a little bit lower, although that last lap time from Tom Christensen, bearing in mind that went through the chicane on the Mulsanne straight, 3 minutes 25.946. I think there must be some question about what's the quickest way down the Mulsanne straight then. So a 3:25.946 is a full 3 seconds quicker than Nakajima, who has stayed out to do another lap, and that'll be a 12 lap stint therefore for Nakajima in the number 7.
Presumably caught in some traffic though during that lap, because a 3:28.9, as you say, compared to the 3:27.5 it did on the previous lap.
sorry, I'm forgetting, aren't I? We've had a safety car. In fact, Nakajima is going on to his 13th lap, but of course the reason why they can do the extra mileage is because we had the safety car out, didn't we? And that enables them to save fuel.
Yeah, less to the right foot means less being pumped through the engine. So we will wait to see when Nakajima comes in. How much more of a distance can that give you? It's already done 13 laps, did you say, the 7 car?
Number 7 is currently on 126, isn't it? Yes, he's on his 13th. He hasn't done 13, right. But if he comes in at the end of this lap, he will have done 13.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll keep an eye to what Kazuka does towards the end of this lap. He's still in Sector 2. Now, just coming through Sector 2 there, so has done the Mulsanne straights and now going to do the twisty bit at the end of the lap. We'll keep our eyes out for pit in, which is right in front of us, as
not very far behind him. Sorry, just to say, Johnny, quickly, not very far behind him is Stefan Sarazan in number 8, and when he pits, when Nakajima pits, Sarazan will take over second place.
Timo Bernhardt just going through in the 4th placed GT Pro car. It is Aston from Aston, and then Porsche. The two works Porsche's 3rd and 4th within GT Pro, and Bernhardt is the 4th of those. Richard Leitz still on board the 92, which is 3rd in class, and the two Astons out front. Bruno Senna now up to 16th place overall, although he has dropped a position now because of the recovering number 1 Audi. Marcel Fessler at the wheel, and Fessler is up to 16th spot now.
Yes, and moving very strongly through the field, and as we would expect, it's going to be worth keeping an eye open for Marcel Fessler to see just how far he can get as time goes by. I think he came back into the race at 23rd, if I remember rightly, so already moving up by seven places. It gets progressively harder, of course, as you go up the grid.
Back to our Powered by Nissan pit lane. Bruce Jones with some news on the Murphy Prototypes car.
An ECU change delayed them a lot, but now they expect the car to really fly. Brendan Hartley's just taken over from Mark Patterson, and they were also very complimentary about Karun Chandok's stint. And car 99 has now just pulled to a halt. We're having a driver change there, obviously massively important in GTE Pro as I run back down the pit lane. Just trying to see who's taking that one over, but Machiavecchi did such a good stint in that early on. Super impressed with him when he was hunting down 97, but has the second place car in cast now overtaken while they're in the pits? Probably not quite yet.
Well, you mentioned, Trussers, that this could well be a 13-lap stint for Kazuka Nakajima. That's exactly how it's turned out, because the 7 car is in, Nick.
In front of me, parked, fuel only. Still the 2 lights on the side for number 7 now. It was number 8 a second ago. So Toyota still holds 2nd and 3rd. Both cars are lapped down. Pushing fuel and then going on. To pick up on what Bruce was saying, and also throw it over to Paul. Traditionally, we've been used to seeing the GTE Pro cars. The drivers do a single stint. We get every
reason. It's not
the hourly update, powered by Audi.
And that.
Just gone 11:30 here in Le Sart then, and an update from Paul Truswell on how things stand.
Yes, with 8.5 hours gone, 127 laps completed by Tom Christensen, and a lead of pretty much exactly 1 lap for him over what is now the number 8 Toyota, Stefan Sarazan at the wheel of the number 8 Toyota, which is, I say, just over a lap behind. The number 7 Toyota, which is just pitted, has now dropped back into 3rd place, but he'll get 2nd place back in a little while when Sarazan has to make his own pit stop, but that's a couple of 3 laps away yet. So number 2 Audi leads, number 8 Toyota is in 2nd place, a lap behind, and number 7 Toyota is in 3rd place on its way out of the pits with Nakajima behind the wheel. In 4th place is car number 3, Lucas de Grassi, having taken that car over after it lost about 7 or 8 minutes on a pit stop to do various things, sorting things out, and also it lost earlier on, before that, about 4 or 5 minutes with a pit stop and a puncture for Oliver Jarvis. So that's why that car has now slipped to being 2 laps behind the rest. In 4th place, number 3 Audi. In 5th place is the Rebellion Lola, number 13 still going strongly, but losing ground to the manufacturer cars up ahead of it. And Nick Leventis is now a lap behind. In fact, Nick Leventis has just lost another place, hasn't he? Because as I spoke, the Rebellion Lola of Nicolas Prost went through in number 12, and he has taken back 6th place. So Rebellion Lola is now 5th and 6th in the order, number 13 ahead of number 12. Nick Leventis in the Straka Racing HPD just losing 6th place, and he's in 7th place at the moment, just 2 seconds behind Nicolas Prost, but I think that's going to be a gap that gets bigger. Leading LMP2 is the number 35 Morgan, which is the Oak racing car. Bertrand Baguette behind the wheel, and he has still about a minute of an advantage over the number 24 Oak Racing Morgan, which Olivier Pla is driving at the moment, and the two of them are leading the number 42 Zytek now, which is the Nismo sponsored car, the number 42 car. Jan Mardenborough back behind the wheel of that car. He was the driver at the start, remember, although they've cycled through all the drivers. Mardenborough then having his second turn, having enjoyed the start, he then gets to drive the night. He's got the best of all the worlds, hasn't he? And he is just 38 seconds behind Olivier Pla. And then in the Jota car is a further 8 seconds behind. So we've got two Zyteks there squabbling over third place in the class, with Jan Mardenborough just ahead of Oliver Turvey. So we're talking about the top quality drivers in the cars there. Baguette in 35 leading the class, Olivier Pla in 24 second, Jan Mardenborough in 42 third, and Oliver Turvey in 38 fourth. Fantastic drive going on by all of those. In 18th place overall is the GTE Pro leading car. We seem to be doing pit stops when I go through the update. Peter Dumbrek leads the class then with number 97. He's got about 40 seconds or so of an advantage on Ricard Leitz, who's just come into the pits though, so that's going to go up. Dumbrek will be into the pits his next time around. It's a situation as it was before, really, except that, as I say, Ricard Leitz is having his stop, and Robert Bell is now at the wheel of the number 99 Aston, which is currently in second place in the class, but will shortly be taking over in third in the class as Mark Lieb rejoins in the number 92 Manthey Racing Porsche. So that car on its way again in third place in the GTE Pro class. In GTE AM, we've had a change because into the lead of GTE AM has come number 77, Patrick Long's Speed. Is now bringing the second of the Dempsey of the Proton competition cars, the Dempsey Del Piero car, up into the lead of the class. So 77 now leads that class. In second place in the class is the second of the Proton Porsches, the car number 88, which is in the hands at the moment of Paolo Ruberti, and I'm just trying to work out how far it is behind. It's about a minute or so behind, I think, is Paolo Ruberti in the number 88 Porsche. And then in third place in the class is the car that was leading it, the Ferrari number 55, which now has Darrell O'Young back at the wheel. Darrell O'Young, though, is charging along, just set the fastest lap of that car. So the Ferrari number 55 looking to get back on terms with the two Porsches behind which he has now fallen. So the two Proton Porsches, 77 and 88, leading GTE AM with 88 in third place.
The hourly update on Radio Le Mans with Audi TDI. Vorsprung durch Technik.
8.5 hours in the book, straight to Bruce Jones with Bruno Senna.
Bruno, thanks for waiting while we were doing our update. A really good battle at the head of GTE Pro.
Yeah, it's a very close battle, closer than we would like. For sure, we would like a bit more peace up front, but obviously we're competing against our sister car and also against the Porsche, and we are really close. But the race has been going well for us. We are pushing very hard on the strategy, really trying to make the strategy work, and it's been a lot of hard work, but the guys behaving really nice, so the team is doing a great job.
But when you're racing really close with the Porsche, do you find there are some parts where the Aston Martin is stronger and others where the Porsche maybe has a better grip or something?
Well, the cars are very equal. You know, for you to overtake, you have to really be on the edge and see if the guy makes a mistake. So we managed to overtake the Porsche and the Ferrari. It was nice, but a bit on the limit sometimes, and hopefully we don't have to do that again. We can just stay up ahead.
Good. Have 6 hours, Kips. Thanks for waiting to Nick.
Rickard Leeds, it was a great, very long stint, but you had one spin on the Mulsanne. What happened?
Yes, at the moment we are doing triple stint, and it was quite risky at the beginning, but you know, Aston Martin was doing it, so it was clear that we have to try it also. And yeah, it's 3 hours in the car, so it's quite a long stint, but unfortunately I had to avoid the crash. I was going straight in the Porsche corners, but it was only time loose. The car is still working great. So all in all it was okay, and it's still a long race, but the car is really competitive, and that's why I'm really happy.
It's a big change this year. We've been used to seeing GTE Pro cars do, you guys doing an hour, changing drivers, changing tyres. Now suddenly you're doing nearly 3 hours and triple stints. Is that because the quality of the drivers improved, the quality of the car has improved, or the quality of the tyres improved?
Well, the reglement is only allowed 2 mechanics and 1 wheel gun, so definitely you lose time if you change the tires. So you try to develop the car and the driving style and the tires to last for 3 stints, so you don't lose time with changing the tires, and that's why, you know. And also in other categories they change in one race 5 times the tires, and the spectators, they say it's not so funny. That's why the WEC they try to do more stints with the tires. I think it's okay.
Rickard, thank you. And I think this GTE Pro battle is hotting up, and Bruce has more information.
Well, you have to really be quite a juggler to stay on top of who's on top, but Rob Bell is now leading in 99. He was the one who took over from Bruno Senna. Darren Turner's now out in 97. We'll see how it shakes out with Mark Lieb in 92, but as Bruno said, it's real nip and tuck stuff between them. Thank goodness, and I believe something must have happened on the track.
Certainly heard Bruno down in as the main commentator for French audiences, getting very excited, as we often hear during the night.
Yes, I think Bruno is actually in the pit lane at the moment, and I think he's describing some activity in the pit itself. Can I just catch up on some housekeeping? Because when Tom Christensen made his pit stop there, did he change tyres?
Not sure. There is an issue for Patrick Long, because the 77 car, the Porsche, is currently in. Nick, are you close to that?
I am, and it's very, very exciting. Don't forget that Patrick Dempsey is the biggest star in the history of France ever. And Bruno is terribly excited. His car, whilst not driven by that particular Patrick, but actually by Pat Long, it's coming with only one headlamp on. It's failed a headlamp. They're doing a full service, tyres and fuel. I expect they'll then get round the headlamp. But as you know, young Bruno can make even the most dull incident seem ridiculously overexciting sometimes.
Thanks, Nick. So your question, Trussers, was about the number 2, was it?
Number 2 pit stop, because it was 1 minute and 22 seconds long, and that is longer than it would normally take for Audi to just refuel the car, if that was all they were going to do. And I just wondered if we spotted what it was that they did, or whether the Twitter feed can tell us, because they have been tweeting what they've been doing on their pit stops.
Well,
yeah, but I'm sure Martin Pass is listening to us, and he will.
Each Audi in the race has its own Twitter feed. R18_1, I think it is, R18_2, and R18_3. So somewhere within that little lot, there'll be the relevant information, I'm sure. Tom Christensen is back out on track, somewhere in the 3rd sector in the race, leading number 2 Audi. Still heading to Toyota's 8 from 7.
And we saw an interesting bit in the pits there with Patrick Long coming in to hand over to Patrick Dempsey, and the photographers were so deep around Patrick Dempsey that he couldn't actually get to the car, and Pat Long had to go in and almost pull him out from the throng of photographers trying to get get that vital shot of Patrick Dempsey, and that was what I think Bruno was getting excited about when we heard that over the PA here at the circuit.
And absolutely, Twitter is the answer, whatever the question is. They took on fuel and a new compound of tyre as the temperatures are dropping, says Audi R18 number 2 Twitter feed. So thank you for whoever is putting that out. And so that will enable Christensen to go even longer. Duval has kind of set the standard in that team thus far by driving for 3 hours and 45 minutes. So if Christensen's going to do something of that nature, he's going to be still driving it's about 2 o'clock in the morning, so it's not even midnight yet. So Christensen could be on for a long stint at this rate. So I'm sure he's up for it with all his experience, and can't really say anything just in case it's going to put the commentator's curse. So change the subject, Johnny.
Will it not be Kyle himself who's running that Twitter feed? I can't imagine he's got much else to do when the car's out on track.
Yeah, probably is. Yes.
Brave man.
Yes, indeed.
That's what I imagine Howden, Lena and Kyle to be doing. You know,
just tweeting all the time.
Tweeting all the time, yeah. Just giving us an update.
Yeah, it's only when the cars come in they have anything to do. Yeah.
Another car going very quickly is Bertrand Baguette behind the wheel of the 35. P2 leading Oak Racing Morgan. A 3:42.342 is the fastest lap that car has done so far in the race on its 123rd lap. It's on to lap 124 now, but Bertrand Baguette really getting a wiggle on at the head of the P2 order. He's still 8th overall and leading his teammate Olivier Pla in the 24 Oak Racing Morgan. Now the pink and black cars. There is a third Oak Racing Morgan in the field this year. It's the Art car, number 45, but that doesn't have a gold or platinum rated driver in the order, so we were expecting the 45 car to be quite a bit further down. It is currently 32nd with Jacques Nicolet on board, and Nick Damon's very close to a pit stop for the number 8 Toyota.
Indeed, the two lights on the 8. Whenever the Toyotas come in, they all have two lights on, and whenever they go out, they normally should have 3. And that was again a completely standard fuel-only stop, as they are at least triple stinting these tyres, not quadruple. And the number 3 I see is up at the Audi end, so I assume Bruce is eagle-eyeing.
For once, my eagle eye caught a car coming in. Yes, it is a standard fuel-only stop. Anything else? No chips, nothing. Out he goes again. So Lucas Di Grassi, that's his first pit stop of this stint. He did obviously get in ahead. Mark Genet hinted a bit that he'd expect to do one more stint himself, but because they had to draw the car into the garage last time around to do all that work under the safety car, obviously they used that time to do the driver change. So maybe Mark will get payback later on, but probably not. You just roll them all forward once. So Lucas Di Grassi, simple pit stop for Audi number 3, sitting at the moment in 4th place, but some battle to catch up with the Toyotas, which are a lap ahead of him.
Yes, and just to confirm what Nick was saying there about Sarazan's pit stop in the number 8 Toyota, he is now setting off on his 4th stint of this set of tyres. I haven't seen any new tyres going on that car since he took it over from Sebastian Buemi, which he did at 21:34, so 2 hours and 10 minutes ago. So again, you have to be Iron Man these days to race at Le Mans. They talk about how much you have to be inch perfect. Well, you have to be inch perfect, not for an hour and a half, but as we were hearing from one of the GT drivers as well there, I think it was Richard Leitz, wasn't it? We were talking to Ricard Leitz, that you know, it's a 3-hour stint, and it could be even longer than a 3-hour stint if you're in the P1.
Spin for the 47 KCMG Morgan, and the 47 car who is on board that at the moment, it's Alexandra Imperatori, who had a moment coming into pit lane at the very start of the race, bumping and boring over the curbs as well, and he's done the same, but this time on the main track at Ford chicane, and the car as a result spun coming out of the second chicane onto the start and finish line. Meanwhile, Bruce is very close to the 13 Rebellion. Matthias Besch was in the car. Who's clambering him on board now?
You know what, from the distance I was standing, I can't tell you, but now I can. It's gone back onto the track. Let's see whose name flashes up. Andrea Baliki. So car number 13 back into 5th place. Andrea Baliki has taken over.
And he will return onto track into 5th place. Meanwhile, there was a driver change for number 71 with Tony Verlander clambering out and Kemiya Kobayashi getting on board. So the Japanese driver in number 71, was that the class leading car, 71, the Ferrari? It possibly was ahead of Jean-Maria Bruni. It's no longer, of course. The 51 car has taken the race lead in sorry, not the race lead. I'm way off with that. It's because I've conceded them at the top of the second screen. They're actually 5th and 6th places, rather, with Rob Bell leading the class in number 99 and Darren Turner second in the 97. Then it's the 2 Works Porsches, and then we've got the 2 AF Corsa Ferraris. So 51 and 71 are the order of those Ferraris. But after the pit stop, which has put Kobayashi in the 71, Tommy Milner has crept into 7th position. Into 6th position, rather, behind the 51 Ferrari of Bruni. So let's give you the numbers in GT Pro, because that's a very complicated way of explaining it. 99 from 97, they're both Aston Martins. 92 from 91, they're both Porsches. Mark Lieb ahead of Timo Bernhardt. Then it's the 51 car of Bruni for AF Corsa, that's the Ferrari, and the 74 car, Tommy Milner, for Chevrolet Corvette.
And it's a big surprise, isn't it, that the Corvettes are perhaps not as competitive as we might have expected them to be, that this is very much Aston, Porsche, and that the Corvette is quite a long way down the order, and we know that that team has been surprised by their lack of competitiveness, and really didn't have much of an answer for it.
They have won twice in the American Le Mans Series so far this season, but the safety car period at the very start of the race was not particularly favourable to the Chevy Corvettes, as the car goes very wide there, trying to make pit lane entry. No, it wasn't. It was trying to be on the track proper. That was the 54 AF Corsa Ferrari from GT AM, and that car is on the 3rd screen. It's Bachelier on board at the moment, 51st overall, and just inside the top 10 for GT AM. Straight down to Bruce in our Powered by Nissan pit lane, and some stopping action for 1 or 2 cars.
1 or 2 or 3. Number 12 coming in from 6th place with Nicolas Prost. He stayed on board. They lifted a little flap in front of the windscreen, had a little fiddle around and sent him back out with new fuel but no new tyres. 45's in the pits, 46 from LMP2, that's some way down the order, but 46 still among the top handful of cars in LMP2. A nice standard pit stop for them. No driver changes for any of those 3.
Car 49, which is the highest numbered P2 car. That's the Pecom Racing Orica. Must respect the track limit, exiting Marshall Post 42, and back to Bruce for an Audi pit stop.
Turn my back for a second and then Audi comes sliding in. I'm just running up to it, so is that number 2? I think it's number 2. No, it's number 1. Okay, just refueling at the moment, having a look under the back of the car as I leg it up the pit wall. Probably get underway by the time I get up there. Fuel going in, and it looks as though he's about to go. So Marcel Fassler just in for fuel and back out. No real concerns there, but obviously he's got a lot of ground to make up.
And continues to do so. He's now up to 16th place overall. Natasha Gachnang will be the next person in the Morgan that he's going to be hunting down. And then Quick-Nick Manassian will be the next one in the sights after that. So the number 1 Audi, I think, has left its woes behind, doing some good solid lap times now, and we would expect to see that car move up. I think this is a significant or sufficiently competitive field that he's going to be hard pressed to get right up where he would have been otherwise, but nonetheless I think we're going to see some good performances from that number 1 car.
Bertrand.
Yes, you were saying earlier on, Paul, how far he went. He went back down as far as 24th place, was as low as he fell on the lap chart. And the fight back has now got him up to 16th. So there's more to come, as you were saying.
Bertrand Baguette in the leading P2 car. It's 8th overall, number 35. Again, putting in some really impressive lap times. Lap 124 was the fastest lap that car has done so far. And the 24 car is still in second position. There are more problems for the Level 5 Motorsports HPD car, because Bruce is reporting maybe more smoke from the 33.
Smoke and flames. Ryan Briscoe is sitting there at the back of the car, went up completely, but it's just, well, he's driven off now, but there's a marshal there with a lot of extinguishing hitting the back of that car. At first I thought it was just the engine problems I had last time, and it was the wind blowing the exhaust, but there was flame. There was a lot of flame. Anyhow, he's back on the track. He's not concerned, but the fire blew out as he drove away. But certainly something slightly wrong with car number 33 there.
Trusses, you're frantically pointing at something.
Only because we've got 4 very fast cars together on the circuit. So if you're listening to us on FM, you'll be noticing this as well, because we've got the first car you see is the second place car, number 8. He's got behind him the number 3 Audi of Lucas Di Grassi, who's really wanting to get past him, hasn't done yet. The next one through is then the number 7 Toyota, which is in effect on the tail of the number 8 car, because they're battling it out for second place in the race, or at least they would be if Lucas Di Grassi wasn't between them. And then just behind that is Tom Christensen in the number 2 Audi. And they are all, with the exception of Lucas Di Grassi in number 3, the 2 Toyotas and Tom Christensen are all on the same lap, but the Tom Christensen car, because it's right at the tail of the group, is very nearly lapping the 2 Toyotas, but we've got the situation that we nearly had before when they were a lap behind the 2 Toyotas. The 2 Toyotas are just ahead of the Tom Christensen Audi on the road, therefore not quite a lap behind. But it's exciting to watch them go round because they're all nose to tail.
The 21 Stracker Racing Run HPD has just come in for a stop. Nick Leventis behind the wheel and Nick Damon is there.
But Nick Leventis is no longer behind the wheel because Danny Watts has hopped in, I think. Into that car is showing a bit of damage. We saw this last time they put in some fuel. For this race only, the low downforce, they put on some